Hi, everyone, and welcome to VR for Work. My name's Rick, and I'm your host here at VR for Work. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you've gotten to see the previous couple of episodes, as this is the third and final of our trilogy of our series on VR anatomy apps. In honor of that, I put my Lumi lab coat on today so I can look very medical and professional. And for those of you who don't know, I actually do work in the healthcare field. I work in IT, in healthcare at our local community hospital, and have worked there for the past 30 plus years. So I'm very proud of that, and I'm very happy to be bringing you this series on VR anatomy apps. Today's VR anatomy app falls outside the realm of what you might consider your typical academic training simulator for detailed anatomy instruction. We're going to be talking today about SharecareYou VR. Let me pull up the PowerPoint and we'll get going. So SharecareYou VR is what I'm calling, and this is a long title, a VR-based health and well-being visual learning experience using anatomy. So yes, it uses anatomy. The participants will learn anatomy almost secondarily to what ShareCare, I think, is trying to do with its application. So what ShareCare is using highly detailed, really great graphics and animation, helping the learner understand how their body functions, and then the impact of decisions about health and wellness having on the various systems, right? So things that we've heard, like what does smoking do to your lungs, and what does high cholesterol do to your heart, right? And they believe the more you can understand about these organs and these systems, then the better job you'll do in taking care of them. And I think this is well founded. This is a great application for VR and a great way to approach helping people make healthy decisions by understanding the impact of those decisions on their organs and inside their body, which we typically don't get to visualize until it's really too late. And so it's a VR offering, a immersive health and wellness learning platform that uses anatomy to educate on the human body and a variety of health conditions. On the ShareCare website, they'll talk about their mission is to help each person build a longer, better life by enabling health transformation at the individual, organization, and community level. Through our comprehensive platform, we enable people to go from assessment to action and connect to personalized information, evidence-based programs, benefits, resources, and services they need to live their best lives. So ShareCare is not like the other applications we talked about before, 3D Organon and Anatomy Explorer, in that it's a platform on the web dedicated towards health and wellness. And so people can join ShareCare for free. You know, they get the app on their phone, they get resources on the web, and it's all about driving them and helping them be educated and making good decisions about their healthcare. VR and the ShareCare VR application is just a part of that they've obviously now taken and monetized by selling the app on platforms like Oculus, Steam, and Viveport. And so who is this for? Well, certainly, you know, students being introduced to anatomy can benefit from this. Again, you will get very basic anatomy in here. Again, just not to the level and detail as you have found with the 3D Organon and the Anatomy Explorer. It's very basic, very introductory, if you will. Certainly consumers wanting to increase their health understanding and awareness, you know, perhaps somebody who's had a stroke or has been told to lower their cholesterol, or maybe has had a ischemic heart event, wants to understand more about that and actually visualize those things, that can really impact how the decisions they make and their life and wellness practices that they put into effect. And this can be extremely effective, much more so than just a health professional kind of listing to them the benefits of regular exercise and eating healthy. We kind of all hear that, but we don't necessarily take actions until we can actually see and visualize the impact of not doing those things on our body. Now, there's also an element and a side to ShareCare VR that is definitely for marketing and advertising personnel, because of the high fidelity graphics and animations that they add in here would certainly be of interest to folks in marketing and advertising to leverage to market and advertise products. Hey, I'm making a drug, a statin that's going to impact your heart, and I want to put a great animation that I can let people play when they come to my website, right? They actually might license that out of ShareCare. And certainly educators, professionals, and institutions, there's elements within the ShareCare VR app that, again, are very powerful because the graphics and the animations are so good, and we'll give you a demonstration of that in a minute. But what we're looking at today is the personal license copy off of the Oculus Rift store that I purchased and downloaded and using as an individual licensee. So what platforms does this run on? Again, ShareCare as a platform is, on VRs, that's the application we're talking about today, but you can access the ShareCare content on your PC, your mobile, and your tablet. Not the VR content, but that ShareCare wellness platform across the continuum is available on PC, mobile, and tablet. The things we look at in VR today won't necessarily be seeing things that you will see if you get an account on ShareCare and pull it up on your mobile phone. You can download the app on Oculus, on Steam, and I didn't put it up here, but also on Viveport. And what we'll be looking at today is content that I recorded on my Oculus Quest 2 with link connected to my PC. Right, so you do need a PC to run it. There is no version that's available in the Oculus Quest store to run just on the Quest. It is PC based, so you'll need a headset that connects to the PC and can run VR content from Oculus Steam or Viveport. Okay, so what's the total cost of ownership here for SharecareYou? Well, again, personal license, Oculus Steam and Viveport. $35, right? Gets you that personal license into what we're going to look at today. But if you dig around and you do a search out on Steam, you'll find out that there is this $300 business license. Now, it indicates this downloadable content, but nowhere can I find that there's additional content beyond what you get with the personal license. And what I suspect is that this is just a license that allows you to use that content in other material or in other locations to share with others. So you kind of buy this business license, and then whatever content is available in the package, you're able to share that with other individuals. All right, well, let's jump into the demo. And we're going to go into the Rift store. I'm going to launch SharecareYou. Now, one of the things that I have to admit right up front is that while there are elements of ShareCare VR that are really great, it felt somewhat unfinished to me. And you'll hear me bring this up as we get in here. So when you come into the initial lobby or environment, kind of a stark environment here, you're focused on this living human in front of you. You've got a menu bar that floats kind of right at your waist. And then you've got a menu up to your left and a menu up to your right. Couple of very simple buttons in front of you. One of them is the help button, right? And There's kind of the overview. It just talks about what you're going to see, all the systems. And then I kept clicking the help button. And guess what? No help was found. So right away, you know, if you hover over it, it will say, click here for your tutorial. And then no tutorial launched. So I was left to figure most of this out kind of just through trial and error. You might have seen a little box, dialog box pop up there, but there is no tutorial that at least came up for me. I've got a set of instructions here about how to use the triggers and the joystick and the buttons, but other than that, did not activate a tutorial. So, okay, that aside, we were able to go ahead and move on. Okay, so you've got this person in front of you. What do? Over here on the left, you get a slider, and as you slide out systems, what you'll have is this carousel where the various systems of the body kind of populate in front of you, right? Kind of very cool. It kind of splits out from within the human body, and you can see the musculature and the skeleton and the lymph system and the nervous system, right? And then similarly for the organs, you do the slider and it slides out all the various organ systems. Now, you know, this was one of those things where, okay, it really neat, it looks cool, but besides kind of giving you just the names and the various graphics for the systems and the organs, you really don't get a whole lot of data or ability to manipulate in this specific view. You can see, let me see if I can pause it here. Okay, so I selected muscular system. I get the model in front of me and I get like these two kind of small sentences about what the muscular system is. And that's kind of the content that's provided at this level. Now you are able to dig in more, so I don't want to mislead anybody that this is it, right? You will see a whole lot more, but at this particular point, again, very introductory, this is what all of these things are and what they do. Okay, you can kind of slide them in, slide them out, very cool. Okay, but this is where the meat of it is, over here on the left-hand panel, right? So as you get into this, then you can actually select the various organs, and then you select, in this case, I selected healthy heart. All right, now we're talking. Now we get into the big heart model located at 12 o'clock right in front of you. Then over to your right, you get an overview of what the actual organ is and does, and then kind of this graphic, this transparent graphic that shows the heart as it's situated in the body, right? And so I can read through that. Again, get some various information. I can click labels. And again, this is where you get into a little bit more of that in-depth anatomy. So I can pick a various, and it's broken down, conduction, valves, circulation. And then over here on the left again, you have some controls. So, you know, and this is where you get into that interactive piece. So I can slow the heart rhythm down and kind of be able to watch it very slowly cycle through. I can then kind of use that slider and kind of slice the heart. So then I can see the various mechanisms operating at the time it's beating. Now, this is where the real power of SharecareYou VR exists. Then I can make that slider go up, and I can kind of then start separating the heart out into components. So the interior, the valves, circulation and conduction. So here's valves. I can kind of isolate and just watch the valves. I can then go over and pull out a label, and I can say, okay, here's the aortic valve. Here's how it operates and works. And I can get a little bit of information in the information panel over on the right. So that's great. That's all good. So this particular organ and system, I think, shows the best of what ShareCare VR can provide us. And this can be very helpful, very powerful. Again, a lot of information, as well as the ability to actually manipulate the model. And this is where you really build in some memory from a spatial perspective and an understanding, so hey, you've had a cardiac event that affected this artery, and here's what it's doing to you. And, even the little button down there you might see popping up that says ECG. I think I'll click this in a second, and I can actually watch. I actually have it running here. So you can actually see the ECG happening at the same time the conduction occurs. So a lot of information, right? So the heart is one of those things that is done really, really well. Now, here's an actual procedure that's demonstrated. And again, this is like, wow, this is very, very informative, very helpful, right? And how this process works. So if you were a consumer and had a relative, a friend, or had to go through this yourself, this could be, worth its weight right there. And you can see there's a lot of information here in regards to the cardiac system, the cardiac muscle itself. So cardiac check, really, really great. Let's go back. We'll go back to the healthy heart. And then again, we can get into the labels. Now, I'm going to pause here again, see if I can flash back over to the right. There was a button there that says video. And so in some cases, when you select a specific organ, right? So now we're going to go to liver, and we're going to see the liver here in front of us. Over here on the information panel on the right, you can see video. Oh, okay, great. So we can get these educational videos. And in this case, again, I have the info about the main liver. It can show me components of the anatomy over here. And again, I can slice and dice with the little tool set on the left-hand side, kind of separate out the various components. And the graphics are just extraordinary. They're fantastic. I can get information, but then when I go to video, the only video that's there present in regards to the liver is about hepatitis C. Now, very important, very informative, good to know, but it's kind of a little out of context in terms of, all right, well, there's nothing here that shows me, right? This is all about the graphics. So there's no context between Hep C and what it does to the liver. Still useful information, great, but again, probably not as useful as it could be. Now, this is again another really powerful feature. So I'm able to select a specific condition, in this case, cirrhosis of the liver, right? So you want to show somebody what happens to the liver as it develops cirrhosis related to disease or alcoholism. And this gives that really great graphical representation of that process, right? That fatty liver and how it just goes from this healthy, dark, blood-rich organ to this fatty, dull thing that you see in front of you, right? And I can kind of slide that in and out. And that's really, really, really cool. And again, I can take the little slicing tool, if you will, and I can slide that up and down. However, there's no connection between the severity of the cirrhosis condition to any of the kind of subsystems within the liver. So good. All right, so we look at brain. I'm going to pull the healthy brain up now. So again, this is where I say it seems a little unfinished. Again, I can see a good bit of the anatomy, fantastic visuals. I can kind of slice and dice. I can go over to my panel on the right and get landmarks and components and what they are. But in this case, as in several of the others, there's no video content and there is no disease content for me to associate with. And I think, that's where the real power of this application would really lie, is being able to associate the anatomy with the specific condition or health-related topic that's being discussed, right? And the heart, again, was, I think, that example of where they got it nailed really, really well. And what I'm hoping is that we'll continue to see developments with ShareCare VR that will continue to populate this panel over here, right? So that we'll have healthy, and then we'll have conditions, lungs, we have COPD, and we have asthma. So again, this is another great example where I think we can educate at the consumer level, not only on just the basics of anatomy, but how that anatomy and how your health and wellness is impacted through the development of these conditions and these diseases, and how to be more healthy. All right, so I can now pick the COPD lung and kind of be able to compare and contrast that with the healthy lung. And again, we can slice open and we can see that nice healthy pink lung with lots of visualization. And again, the graphics are just great. That little button that shows kind of the airflow. And then as I kind of pull that slider over, and you can see that condition change, that is just a powerful, powerful impact on an individual to be able to take this thing that's typically quite invisible to us and kind of put it right in your face to help folks understand what's being dealt with here, and what a healthcare professional might be talking about as they're trying to educate somebody about these systems. Okay, I think we're about at the end, so you would just see more of the same here. And so I'm going to go ahead. So what's the secret sauce? All right, in terms of ShareCare VR, it's cutting edge graphics and simulations. I mean, this is at the absolute pinnacle of that in VR training and education. Exceptional representations of certain organs and disease processes, like the heart. It's good, but very basic anatomy information. There doesn't seem to be any tutorial at present. And some organs and conditions are very, very developed, and others very basic. Okay, well, that brings us to the end of today's session and to this series on VR anatomy apps. Really want to thank you for joining us. Please check out our Facebook page, VR for Work. Visit us on YouTube, Rick the VR for Work guy, our Twitter account, and email us at vrforwork, work with no O, @gmail.com. All right then, thanks again. Merry Christmas, everybody. And I'll see you in the metaverse. Bye now.